Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be looking at a video from Weird History Food. This one is called, What Exactly is Jägermeister? If the answer is going to be kind of tongue-in-cheek, I will say gross. But that is just because I am super not a fan of Jaeger. I've never really liked it. It feels to me like a very collegiate kind of drink, and I didn't like it then either. Like I just have never been a fan. I mean, I will drink it if someone offers me a shot of Jaeger, and like lots of people are doing the shot of Jaeger, but it will never ever be in my top 5 or 10 or 15 shots. Like it's way down the list for me. Honestly, sometimes I think I'd rather do a Malort shot than a Jaeger shot. Like not always, but sometimes that's where my brain is. So we're going to actually like look into Jaeger today. We're going to find out a little bit more about this. I think it'll be fun. You know, it's been a minute since I've done like a bartendy kind of thing. And that used to be my whole shtick. So like, well, it was kind of a shtick. That was just a handle. But either way, as a bartender, I'd like to find out a little bit more about this drink that I hate. Let's go.
Jägermeister is forever associated with college parties thanks to the famous drink that sports its name, the Jägerbomb. But the spicy German liquor in the distinct green bottle had a long, winding journey from its creation back in the old country to a fun night out with your buds. And not all of it goes down smooth.
Okay.
Today on Weird History Food, we're uncapping the history of Jägermeister.
Love that.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. And let us know in the comments below what other brutal histories you would like to hear about. Okay, time to call the bomb squad.
He is correct. Make sure you like and subscribe here as well as checking out more of Weird History Food. It does really help us in the algorithm. You can even just comment for the algorithm and that will help. You can also tell me how wrong I am about Jaeger in the comments. That's also fine.
The year was 1878. The place? The extremely German city of Wolfenbüttel. Back then, Wolfenbüttel was home to a bustling mining industry. The local miners would use a process called fire setting to warm stone, usually rock salt or potash, until it cracked. Then they would use vinegar to cool the stone back down before extracting it. Naturally, these miners had a need for vinegar that outpaced their local small-town supply, and it was only a matter of time before someone stepped up to meet their vinegar demand. Enter Wilhelm Mast. Mast had moved from Wolfenbüttel early in the 1870s. After some time spent surveying the local economic landscape, he decided he was just the man the miners needed, and he opened up his very own vinegar production plant.
Cool.
With a built-in buyer already nearby, the business was an instant success. As the company grew, Wilhelm's product line grew with it. Since the creation process for vinegar and wine are closely linked, vinegar literally means sour wine in Middle English, Wilhelm soon started fermenting wines in his production plant as well. We assume productivity took a hit as morale went sky high.
I bet it did, baby. That would be really funny. That's really cool. I kind of never really thought about that. I don't think I knew that the processes for vinegar and wine were similar. So I've already learned something.
However, as the decades went on, business began to drag. And by the early 1900s, the company had racked up a considerable amount of debt.
That also makes a certain amount of sense, especially if they stopped doing mining in that way. Like that, because like it made perfect sense when he first started, because it was brilliant. Like he saw a demand and was like, I can provide supply, which was awesome. Like super smart, very good. But then it's like if they stopped mining like that, then you don't need as much vinegar.
Wilhelm died in 1918.
You have to come up with some other ways to use vinegar. It's like it's for a cleanse. Yes, you could buy it for a cleanse. Cleanses are trendy.
His son, Kurt, took over the family business. Kurt knew things had to change if he wanted to stay afloat, and so he immediately halted.
That does make him sound like a stoner. Oh yes, I'm a herb enthusiast. Yes, a herb enthusiast, absolutely.
All of the plant's vinegar production and decided to focus solely on winemaking. What's more, he began to experiment with creating his own liqueur, just to give his company that little extra something to keep customers coming back.
That would be a cool job. My job is to taste all the liqueurs we're making all day long.
Decade experimenting on this liqueur, sometimes finding his creations too sweet, sometimes finding them too citrusy. After presumably inventing and reinventing Mountain Dew a few dozen times, Kurt Mast ultimately settled on a recipe that used a whopping 56 natural herbs and spices, which
He should hook up with the Colonel, huh? Just make it 56 plus 11, 67 herbs and spices for a thing.
included everything from ginger.
So close. It's so close. We need to find someone who uses 2 herbs and who uses a single herb and a single spice. We need to have a that will be that will be the new company.
Ginger and cardamom to star anise and licorice root. He called his new creation Jägermeister, which translated from German means hunt master. And his recipe has not changed to this day.
Oh, dang.
While his company has since confirmed some of the ingredients, the majority of them still remain a secret. The drink's label likewise features the St. Hubertus stag, or a St. Hubertus if you like, a mythical creature adorned with a radiant cross nestled between its antlers. And despite the popular myth, the recipe does not contain today any amount of deer blood, unless you
So they
add
say.
your own. According
But hey, look, it's a secret recipe. You can't promise it, can you? They can say it, but if it's
to Catholic accounts, on one fateful Good Friday, this stag once materialized before a down-and-out, recently widowed hunter in medieval France, converting him to Christianity in an instant and changing the course of his life.
okay.
For this experience, the hunter was subsequently canonized by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And St. Hubertus has ever since been known as the patron saint of huntsmen, and by extension, those camouflaged cans of Busch Light. For a drink whose name means hunt master, Hubertus's stag is just about as good a mascot as one could come up with. So it has been
Yeah,
stamped
sure.
on every bottle of Jägermeister since. Speaking of the drink's distinct green bottle, that was the product of serious scientific research. Mast smashed hundreds of bottles onto his oak floor and picked up the only one that didn't break upon impact. Hey, what did you expect him to do? Math? He filled one of these bottles up, slapped a label on it, and in 1934, just 1 year after Hitler came to power, Kurt's creation was finally ready for the big leagues.
Goring schnapps.
That same year, Germany's then second most powerful man, Hermann Göring, had assumed the role of Reichsjägermeister, or Imperial Huntmaster. He was apparently a real staghead. This made Göring the head of Germany's biggest hunting society, and anyone who wanted a hunting license had to go through his organization. So as Kurt Mast's Jägermeister gained popularity, it naturally got its very own Hermann Göring-related nickname, Göring Schnapps, which was
Okay.
unflattering to say the least.
Yeah,
Schnapps
rude.
is the worst thing you can call a drink.
That's pretty funny. I don't know if it's the worst thing you can call a drink, but it's I like some schnapps.
Schnaps, 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 schnaps.
Whether or not this was
Schnapp, schnapp,
intentional on
schnapp,
Kurt
schnaps.
Mast's part remains unclear.
I don't know what that means.
He distanced himself from the Nazis after the war, but then again, so did a lot of Nazis. Regardless of Mast's original intentions, Göring Schnapps, Jägermeister, soon became commonplace within Germany for its alleged medicinal benefits.
Of course.
It was most commonly used as a digestif, a post-dinner drink meant to aid in digestion, but it was also kept on hand for any other medical ailments that may arise.
It is kind of funny though, the digestifs or whatever, like people ask for them. It's like you want a shot though. Like it's like a way to ask for a shot without actually having a shot. It's like you just want something alcoholic and then you're saying it's medicinal. I appreciate that. I do like that.
Got a stomachache? Drink some Jägermeister. Caught a cold? Drink some Jägermeister. Hungover? Drink some Jägermeister.
I had a friend or a coworker whose way of combating everything was to ask me if I wanted any tequila. He's like, you got a cold? Tequila. Okay.
It's good for whatever ails you.
Thanks, Fernando.
As the world descended once more into war, Connecticut-born Sidney Frank was sent over to India by Pratt & Whitney Motors to help improve engine performance for Allied aircraft. He would later use this engineering skill to become a hooch billionaire. After the war's close, he married into the illustrious Rosenstyle family. and got a new job with their company, Schenley Industries,
Never heard
which
of
had
it.
at the time a large distillery in the country. Frank's first major job for the company was to head over to England, where he was told to fix a dysfunctional Scotch distillery that Schenley Industries had recently acquired. While there, he managed to up production from 1 million gallons of Scotch per week to 3.6 million gallons, enough to fuel every business lunch in the world. The production boost added nearly $10 million in weekly profits, securing Frank's job with Schenley Industries and eventually landing him the Schenley Industries presidency. As president, his primary achievement was securing the importation of Dewar's White Label Scotch, making it into an American mainstay. But in 1970, Frank was pushed out of Schenley Industries altogether.
Rude.
Apparently as the result of a family conflict. Frank and his wife were left to fend for themselves.
With their millions of dollars.
Just 3 years later, he decided to start his own competing liquor company, the Sidney Frank Importing Company. Clearly, he wanted Schenley Industries to know exactly who was cutting into the customer base.
Smart.
Around
I like it.
1970.
The pettiness of it is quite good. I do appreciate a good petty art thing. I do find those fun.
Sidney was drinking at a New York bar when he stumbled upon a certain obscure German liqueur with a stag on the bottle. Its taste reminded him of root beer, black licorice, and Vicks Formula 44. In other words, it tasted like spicy cough syrup, and it was a flavor Frank absolutely had to have. At the time, Jägermeister
It does explain why I don't like it, though. Like, that does give me some explanation as to why I'm just super not. Like, ugh. I never liked cough syrup in general, and to me, things like Dr. Pepper also taste like cough syrup. Also, I don't like root beer. So, like, he just explained it as a root beer flavored cough syrup with some spices in it, and I'm like, oh, that explains why I hate it so much.
Already on the move in Europe. Just 2 years earlier, it had gotten a sponsorship deal with the German football team Eintracht Braunschweig. Since advertising on team shirts was illegal in Germany at the time, NASCAR would have had a difficult time in 1970s Germany. The company planned to slyly replace the team's previous lion logo with a Jägermeister stag, like sliding Garfield into the MGM logo. They were caught in the act, though, and it took a whole year of legal battles for the stag to finally make it onto team jerseys, setting a new template for jersey advertising for years to come. Even as it hit football fields across the Atlantic, though, Jägermeister still had very little presence in the U.S. At the time, only a mere 600 cases were sold from Sea to Shining Sea each year. And so, spotting an opportunity in that New York bar, Frank booked a trip to Germany and met with the Jaeger chief executive, Walter Zandvoss. At first, he only managed to obtain the rights to sell Jägermeister along the East Coast, from Maryland to Florida, otherwise known as the summer vacation route. But when other suppliers struggled to do their part, he stepped in and slowly took over distribution rights for the entire country.
Damn.
In 1985, the Baton Rouge Advocate published an article detailing Jägermeister's growing popularity among Louisiana college kids. To some, it had become a sort of goof beverage that you drink ironically, like the Malort liqueur of the Bayou State. To others, the mystery of its 56 natural herbs and spices created an allure for the unknown. Was Jägermeister an aphrodisiac? Did it secretly contain opium? Can the stag see me?
When I think of what Jägermeister tastes like, to me it tastes like money because I'm making money on it.
This article reached Sidney Frank's desk, and he saw an opportunity. So he headed down south to leverage the drink's existing success there. He apparently printed.
I mean, this guy really does seem like a good businessman. This Sidney Frank guy, he seems to really be on his freaking grind. I mean, kudos.
Out thousands of photocopies of the Baton.
Especially because he started out as an engineer. Like, I mean, like, look, I will give props where I feel like I can give where props I feel like are due. Like, he managed to go from one very specialized industry into another pretty specialized industry and do very well for himself.
Rouge Advocate article and distributed them to bars all over New Orleans. He also hired the first ever Jägerettes, a group of young women, scantily dressed in Jägermeister attire, who would hit the Louisiana college bars to flirt with the male students
so
there
it's his
and to
fault.
persuade them to drink more Jägermeister. This is how 90% of products are sold today. It wasn't
It's his fault for that nonsense. We used to have the Jack girls come in to the bar where I was working when I was in Baltimore. So they would come in every so often and like, they were really cool. I really liked them. They were always really, really awesome. And it was great for us because, like, we just managed to get various products, like just free shots in the middle of the afternoon, which was great.
Long before Jägermeister exploded out of its Louisiana fan base and into college towns all across America. By the 1990s, Jägermeister was just about everywhere. But since the ideal temperature for Jägermeister is negative 18 degrees Celsius,
Oh, shit.
it was
Really?
often hidden out of sight in some far-off freezer.
Maybe that's another reason I've never been a fan of it. I've never had it served cold.
To fix this injustice, Jägermeister developed its very own tap machines, which allowed Jägermeister a front and center spot
Really?
on bars across America, and helped to grow the brand even bigger than ever before. And while Frank moved on to develop Grey Goose vodka, his European import continued its meteoric
Damn,
rise
really?
into the
Okay.
new millennium.
Good job,
By
Frank.
the mid-2000s, the company had over 1,000 Jägerettes and Jaeger dudes under its employment. Under these circumstances, the arrival of the Jaeger bomb was inevitable.
All right.
It's from this period that the first ever Jaeger bombs appeared, but it remains unclear who, or dare we say what, first created them.
College student. For sure. For sure it was it was a frat bro. It has to have been a frat bro. Right? It has to have been a frat bro. Like, dude, I dare you to pour this in, like, it has to have been. Not Post Malone.
While Jägermeister has never officially endorsed or embraced the Jaeger bomb, its rise and fall in popularity has had a huge impact on the
Like, it has to have been, like, I got the bull, I got the Jaeger. If we can put lots of, it was a frat bro. I've decided.
company's overall success. But as other drinks like Fireball and flavored vodkas have risen up in recent years to take over a large chunk of Jägermeister's college party market share, the company has had to pivot. Just like when you need to switch to water after too many Jaeger bombs. In 2015, Jägermeister bought up the Sidney Frank Importing Company, allowing it to take full control over its own U.S. distribution.
Okay.
They've since used that acquisition as a springboard for their pivot, turning away from their youthful party past in an attempt to reach an older, more upscale audience.
I don't
It was
know.
around this time that
how
the
likely
Milwaukee
that's gonna
Bucks
be.
introduced their newest logo, which bore some resemblance to Jägermeister's presumably hammered stag. Jägermeister immediately filed a formal notice of opposition to the new Bucks logo, but apparently the two just had to get to know each other. Just days later, a spokesman for Jägermeister said they were now working with the team.
We're cool.
And shortly thereafter launched the Be the Meister campaign, which brought the new super premium Jägermeister Manifest onto the market. Manifest contains more ingredients than traditional Jägermeister and is slightly more potent for refined drinkers
Dang.
who like to get tipsy while listening to opera. They've also since developed Jägermeister Cold Brew Coffee, which boasts the caffeine of a Jaeger bomb, but in a classier,
I've
all-in-one
seen
bottle.
that.
And the Jägermeister
I've not tried that, but I've always been kind of curious about the Jaeger coffee.
Scharf, which is just like the regular Jägermeister, but with a spicy hot ginger taste. Regardless of which
Yeah.
Jägermeister product you choose, to this day, each bottle's label sports the same words that Jägermeister sported for just shy of a century. An excerpt from a poem by German ornithologist and writer Oskar von Riesenthal. It is the hunter's honor that he protects and preserves his game. Hunt sportsmanlike, honors the creator in his creatures.
Aw. Nice.
So what do you think? Do you like Jaeger? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our Weird History Food.
Cool. All right. I did enjoy that. I thought that was really, really cool. And like I said, I need to put some more drinks stuff. I've just been having a difficult time trying to find like drinks stuff that people actually watch. Like I did one for like, match in church. Like I've done these drinks things before and no one really seems to like them but me. But anyway, I hope this one was interesting for you. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Let me know what other stuff from Weird History Food I should be looking at next, and from other channels. Let me know what I should be looking at. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.